Hi Keonna, Heidi here, and I'm using this recording to give you feedback on your first culminating writing assignment. So, first and most important, I googled how to pronounce your name, and I got conflicting results. It's either Keonna or Keonna, depending on where folks are from, either regionally or globally. So, I don't even remember which way I was saying it, but please do let me know, because I'd love to make sure that I'm pronouncing your name correctly. As somebody whose name is constantly spelled incorrectly, I get the need to say the name right. Okay, so with these first culminating assignments, I want to give you feedback for sure, but I also want to go a little more slowly in the first week and explore how the different pieces of the course are working together to support you in whatever goals it is that you're striving for in your writing. So first things first, when I'm looking at your submissions, the first thing I always grade, because it's the first thing I see, is your MLA document design, and that maps to the rubric, which is the first thing. So this is, what the rubric looks like from my end. For you, it looks a little different, but the content's all the same. So it's going to be in the assignment itself, and it's just down here at the bottom. It just provides a handy checklist for just making sure to attend to all the different things that I'm going to be grading in the assignment. And if it doesn't show up on the rubric, it's probably not something that I'll be grading. So for example, with this first one, there's no mention of a works cited page because I didn't ask for one, and I won't be scoring it. So if we go down to the MLA document design aspect here, you can see that in the rubric it just clearly describes what it means to excel, etc., pass, etc. in any given category. So if I'm looking at what you've got going on here, right now you've got about 3 issues in spacing, header, page numbers, font size, font style. This is where most people land in the first week, so you're in pretty good company. And so it pretty clearly describes what the issue is, or the reason that you score over here. But the rubric is limited in that it doesn't tell you where you need to go or what you need to do in order to achieve your writing goal if this isn't it. So that's where another really important aspect of the class comes in, and that's going to be the lecture in modules on basic and advanced composition strategies here, because this lecture maps directly to that rubric. So argument, position, and claims maps to the first item on the rubric here, claims, and so on and so forth. So this gives you the really efficient, specific descriptions, but then this gives you all the explanations, examples, and strategies that you might need in order to achieve, again, those writing goals that you're setting for yourself. So if we're talking about MLA document design, that's going to be down at the bottom here. And you've got, let me pause for a moment. So with MLA, there's actually 3 things that we look at. And they covered this in English 101, but it's nice to have a refresher. So the first thing is in-text citations. And that's just, the citations in the text of your essay that let us know who says what and when. That's thing 1 of 3 with MLA. Thing 2 of 3 is that works cited page I was just mentioning. So that's the page where you just list all the works that you cited in the text of your essay. And then the last thing is that document design. So the document format handout is here. And if this is one that you think is useful and you want a little closer access to, then just bookmark it, and then it'll be handy for you. You don't have to click through quite so many places to get it. But when I was saying there were 3 issues, the header, so you want your header to look like this: your name, my name, class name, and date. And then MLA is all about the picky little details. So when it shows you day, month, year, month spelled out, by gum, they mean day, month, year, month spelled out. And then you want your last name and page number here. And then the last thing is you just want to double space it consistently from beginning to end. So no single spacing, no extra spaces between things, just consistently, uniformly, double spaced. So this is what I call low-hanging fruit, because if you were looking at this, and then you were looking at this, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, that's like 5 minutes of work max. Really, that's all I had to do? And that's a really lovely thing to know, because these culminating assignments happen every week. So there's another one here in week 2, another one here in week 3, and they use this rubric. Now they add to it. So in week 2, we have this idea of the concession. So that gets a couple of lines, new lines. We have this idea in week 3 of synthesis. So that's going to get its own couple of lines. But the core rubric stays the same from week to week to week. So knowing that this is going to show up every week and knowing that it's like, geez, 5 minutes of work, I've got that. It's a really nice goal to set for yourself for next time. My philosophy with these assignments in the first week is I'm just looking for a baseline. Where are you starting from? And then from there, what we're both wanting, I'm sure, is okay, let's see how far we can push it. Let's see how far we can go with, growing and expanding and seeing beautiful increases in the scores in the rubric. Okay, so low-hanging fruit, I talked about the assignment, the culminating assignments use the same rubric from week to week. And then when we get into week 4, that's when you'll do your first draft of your argument essay. And that assignment's just going to be to pick the most important thing you want us to see in the jump-off creek and write an essay that argues that. Guess what rubric you're going to see? So even folding into week 4, the first draft of your argument essay, you're going to see it. Now, it says here the first draft of your argument essay, but honestly, I think this is your first draft, because by the time we get to your essay, we will have had several weeks of conversation where you essentially say, how about now? And I'm like, this is how about now. And then you're like, all right, how about now? And then, so by the time we get down here, you have a really clear sense of what my expectations are and how close you are to meeting those and your goals. And you have a sense of what content you want to keep playing with. So if you're liking writing about Lydia in week 1 and you want to keep doing that, not only can you, but you can also use any of this content right in the draft of your essay. I mean, I recommend to people that they modify, expand, revise it, especially since they're getting all this feedback based on it. Like, if you just copy and paste this into your essay as is, then you're just going to get a lot of the same feedback next time because I already told you that stuff. I don't think that's a good use of your time. But my bigger point is that any of the content that you're writing in this course that you want to fold into that essay, you are welcome to do so. And any of the content that you want to leave behind because you don't ever want to look at it again, you are also welcome to do so. So on the note of content, let's see what you're doing here. So you say here, in the novel The Jump-Off Creek, okay, just a small thing here. So I go really slow in the first week and I just hit all the details. It's like the good and bad thing of only writing 2 paragraphs. I can go slow and really pick things apart because I only have 2 paragraphs to work with. But what that means is, as opposed to a 10-page paper, I couldn't go this level of detail in a 10-page paper. You'd be here for hours. But then the bad side of it is when you only have 2 paragraphs, there's a lot of demand on those picky little details because there's nowhere to hide. In 10 pages, if 1 paragraph goes sour or 1 sentence goes sour, there's 10 other pages to make up for that. But when there's only 1 sentence or 2 paragraphs, there's a lot of burden placed on the crafting of those paragraphs. Okay, so I was getting picky about this. So when you have book titles, you want to do 2 things. One is, instead of the quotation marks, you want to italicize them. And then the other thing is you want to capitalize the J and the C for the standard capitalization for titles. Now this one's confusing because the cover of the book doesn't capitalize it appropriately, and I actually had to go research this to make sure that Molly Gloss wasn't intentionally decapitalizing it and wanting it to stay that way. But as far as I can tell, we want to follow the standard capitalization rules for the title here. Oh, MLA, sorry, there's one more thing. Make sure to indent the first line of your paragraph. So it says it there, and then it also it shows you there, and it also tells you right there. That helps with clarity. So notice here, if you hadn't had the extra space there, it'd be really hard to tell one paragraph to the next. So just make sure you tab over once at the beginning of your paragraphs. Okay. So in the novel The Jump-Off Creek, Molly Gloss illustrates Lydia as an aged woman who is determined and tough. Okay, so as of right now, your claim is right here. It's starting to take in a position, but even taking into account context might feel somewhat broad or factual. For example, Armand is a perfectionist. Another way of thinking about this is your reader reads your claim and they think, huh, yeah, I see that. And you don't want that for your reader for your claim, because especially in argument, and English 102 is the argument and research class, if your reader already agrees with you, you don't have an argument. Because argument by definition, you're trying to persuade somebody of something. So your reader by definition would be somebody who doesn't agree with you. So it's problematic if your reader is like, oh, yeah, I see that. She's tough. So Molly Gloss illustrates Lydia as an H-woman who's determined and tough. Feels a lot like Armand is a perfectionist. So you're starting to take this position. We can definitely see that you're focusing on Lydia and these character traits. And then you just want that position to be a bit more debatable. So I'm curious about something. In that lecture that I was telling you about, which is right here, I used the little wrenchy thing so that you and I can find it more quickly. When we were exploring claims and looking at these, decent claims and amazing claims and these strategies, folks took this quiz where they were exploring strategies that they might want to commit to. So I'm curious what you said here. Okay, you said most important. I think that that would have been a good strategy here. If you were to say that the most important traits that Lydia possesses are her determination and toughness, I might have fussed a little bit still, because I think determination and toughness are two different ideas, and I think that one idea per paragraph is ideal. But beyond that, now your reader has the ability to say nuh-uh, and that's, I think, what makes a debatable claim. Because if your reader was to say, that's not her most important trait, this is, right, then you've got an argument. So I think that your instincts were really solid here. And I think that that's just a good strategy to keep in your back pocket for next time. Okay, so moving on. Coming off as lost yet mysterious and secretive. I think here we're going to start running into problems with unity. So you want every paragraph to be a single snapshot of a single idea. So you want it to be unified not just around your topic, which in this case is Lydia, but your point about this topic. So as of here, we really have a couple of different points. Like, are we focusing on her age, her determination, her toughness, her mysteriousness, or her secretiveness? Right, those, I think, could take us into 5 different directions. So if we're looking at unity, there's going to be some issues there. So this paragraph actually contains multiple claims, because you're giving us a lot of different traits to explore. And by the time your reader gets here, they're wondering which one you want them to land on. Personally, my favorite is the determination or maybe the toughness. I think that either one is really fun. I think determination probably gives you the most to play with, but my favorite doesn't matter. What matters is which one you like best and feel like you have the most to say about. The other small thing here is this is a sentence fragment. You actually got that information in week 2, the week that we're in right now, just because I didn't want to overwhelm you. I wanted you to have it in the first week, but so if we look at the sentence grammar stuff, sentence fragments are a really common one, which is why I included it. And it's this one, this idea that ing verbs without helpers are not complete verbs. And for a complete sentence, you need a subject and a complete verb. So here, you've got the ing verb here coming across as lost yet mysterious and secretive. So coming isn't a complete verb, and you don't have a subject, who or what is coming. So if you had changed it, just going to show you, fragments are really hard to explain by just pointing to rules, but they're a lot easier to talk about when you're just fixing it. So if you were to tweak it by just saying she comes off, where's my keyboard? There you go. She comes off as, now you've got a subject, you've chopped off that ing, so now you've got a complete verb and all is well in your world. If you wanted to keep coming, you could just is coming off as lost yet mysterious and secretive. That's what this lecture tells you here, is that's the other strategy, is to give it a helping verb, and then it's not a is having, is the example I give here. Then you've got verb completeness, and then of course you had to add that subject, but you'd be lovely and perfect then. Okay, Keonna, the time limit on these recordings is 15 minutes, and I'm already running up against that, which is par for the course for me. I go slow, I point to a lot of things, and I don't get very far through, especially the first paragraph. But I will, of course, continue to read and give feedback and score this. I'm just going to do it off camera now.